Okay, Katherine, thank you so much for doing this. First of all, I want to just start by saying I love you. I feel like Drew Barrymore now. You know when Drew Barrymore does when she like leans in, I feel really like in your personal space. But I love you. I have to just say this, the first thing, because when I started doing stand-up, I didn't know any comedians. I somehow had met you through Honey, and you just supported me before I even know if I was good at stand-up. You were so generous, and you influenced me so much in what I wanted to do, and you made me feel like I could like look hot on stage and wear nice clothes and be both sexy, glamorous and funny. And you also taught me just by how you behave to support other women, and that comedy shouldn't be what it used to be, which is like one big competition of like one woman being on every lineup. So I just wanted to start by saying that. I'm going to let you speak, don't worry. But this podcast...
I'm not comfortable with compliments.
I know you're not, but so I have to start with earnestness because I know that that's not really either of our... I don't like compliments either, but you mean so much to me. So it's a huge honor that you're here. You're the first episode of this podcast, and I'm so grateful to you for doing this. This podcast is about parties. It's called Late to the Party. I'll tell you why I want to do this podcast, because there are a few things in life that I'm good at, okay? And one of them is socializing and going into different social situations. So I wanted to make a podcast where I talk to people who I find interesting about what they're like at parties. So my first question is, what would be your best excuse if you were running late to a party?
Oh, I love the, sorry, I'm late, I didn't want to come.
Oh, love that.
I'm pure honesty all the time. I was
Do you
late.
walk in and you say, I don't want to be here?
I give that vibe a lot. Well, yesterday, my friend Michelle DeSwart,
love her.
I'm sure you love,
Yeah, I love her.
She has a new show called Spent coming out on BBC Two, and I was going to the screening, and she texted me at 6:30 the address, and it was meant to be arrivals at 6. And I said, I know the address. I'm right outside eating a taco. And she goes, well, we're going up now. And that was when I did want to come to, but I was still late only because I'd misjudged like the punctuality of arrivals and screenings. So I felt badly about that. I'm with the Kardashians in that if you're on time, you're late. You have to be early. I think part of their success is down to punctuality. And so I try to emulate that. But I think people know with me that I got a bunch of kids and I'm very busy, and you know, I've trained people just to not expect my presence at all.
Well, I would just be more flattered that you came.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
So it's like, I wouldn't care how late you were because I'd just be happy that you came. Because if I've said that Katherine Ryan's coming and then she doesn't come, it's so embarrassing.
No, I would come. I think I would come early and leave early. That's more my thing, is not to arrive late. It's usually I'll be there as soon as it begins, and then no one will have seen me because they showed up after I left.
So what are the kind of, okay, so I went to a baby's first birthday on Saturday and I actually got so drunk I threw up.
Wow.
Has that ever happened at one of your kids' birthdays?
There's always alcohol at my kids' parties.
Love that.
So I spent, and I'll tell you this because it's really embarrassing, but I spent thousands on Violet's birthday parties. And even when I was just coming up and I didn't have like thousands, I would scrimp together from somewhere, like at the very least hundreds, and I would have wedding style birthday parties for Violet. So her 7th birthday was put on by Tom Freud.
You're lying.
Yeah, who's like an amazing, like the best. And it was thousands.
Wow.
And it was video game themed. And we had all this staff dressed up like the Mario Brothers and the Mushroom. And they had an open bar. And it was after this marathon that happened in our neighborhood. And the moms went wild. And they had just run this little mini marathon. So they were hungry and they'd sweated out all their electrolytes. And then they refueled with champagne. And those moms were fucked.
But when a kid's birthday then turns wild, like where's the cutoff point? Like when do we...
It was awful.
Eddie, come up here. When did the kids go away and then did the adults like carry on partying? Is that what happens? Just asking for future reference.
Well, the moms got especially gobby. So Roisin Connolly, my very good friend and neighbor, was there, and the moms just got to a point. They fell off a cliff. Like they were a bit drunk and then they were hammered. And this one, I remember, was smoking outside and shouted to Roisin. You know, they're all kind of polite about us being on TV until they're wasted. And she takes a drag. She's like, "Hey, Joker." And Roisin was like, me. She's like, hey, Joker, this like Spanish mom. And then one of them started telling me, oh, I think a lot of the stuff that you do is shit. Like, I don't watch any of it, but this one thing I liked, but the rest of it's shit. And then one of them lost her husband. At the end, I'm trying to get everyone out. I had places to go and things to do. And this one came back and she was falling all over the place. She's like, my husband's at your house, isn't he? Isn't he? He's at your house. He's gone to your house. And I was like, your ugly troll of a fucking husband is not at my house. Like, they got accusatory, paranoid, like wasted. And there's always alcohol, but this year was the worst.
That sounds insane. How do you then talk to these people again?
I mean, I didn't really like the moms.
Like the one who said that she's never liked your work.
Yeah. She was absolutely fucked. And she was tiny. I think people in this country, I've learned, will forgive any behavior if it's alcohol induced. So I've just subscribed to the mantra of Britain of like, she was pissed.
I think that is true. I mean, I've got one of my best friend's family that's like they swipe the slate clean at the end of the night. So no matter what's been said.
Sure. But
then it means that a lot of stuff goes undealt with.
That is
why there's so much like buried family trauma in this country,
true.
because people don't talk about their problems, then they get drunk, then they talk about it, and then they never talk about it again.
I mean, I liked to see these moms let loose a bit. As annoying as it was, I was like, oh, you needed to get absolutely fucked on a Sunday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great time to get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Do
my
you?
favorite.
No, okay, so you've got 3 kids now. You've had 2 kids in quite close time together.
Yeah.
Do you go to parties now? What is your social life like now?
Bobby and I are trying to go to adult parties every once in a while, or like functions, because he is really isolated as a stay-at-home dad. It's tricky. I think the stay-at-home dads, as much as we're moving in a very non-gender specific, non-traditional direction, more dads are staying home, more women in heteronormative relationships are earning the kind of money where their husbands can stay home. It's great. But they're still kind of not accepted at the mom groups, the little soft plays, the babies. The mums don't include them as much because it's weird. You walk in and you're the only dad.
That annoys me so much.
Yeah.
So what, they would not like want to hang out with him?
Not as much as, and also he doesn't really know what to say to them. It's still a little bit like school where the boys are on one side and the girls are on the other. Bobby shows up and he doesn't make friends as easily in that setting as I do. And so he really likes comedians. I have cool friends, luckily. So we try to do things like, we were invited to Maya Jama's birthday party a few years ago, and that was lit. That was in Brixton.
Love.
And we danced the night away.
That's fun.
A lot of twerking, a lot of like inappropriate mom and dad dancing.
But that's what you deserve.
It was fun. And it was sponsored by McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I wasn't invited, but hopefully I'll be invited to the next
Well, I haven't
one.
been invited since, so my dancing was obviously not up to par.
Are you like, okay, when you were younger, were you like a party girl?
Animal.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you like make a lot of mistakes?
None. All wins.
Wow.
No,
jealous.
I don't look upon anything I've ever done as a mistake, Grace. So
you never like woke up in like whopping or like, yeah,
a lot of
just
that.
not a mistake. You were like, oh, it's nice to be in whopping.
We did bad things for sure. And I wanted to always be the host. And I see that in my daughter. There are people who want to be the hostess and people who are smart enough to be like, let's go to the other house and trash that. But I grew up in the era of house parties. And I grew up in Canada and like bush parties and field parties. So, I mean, mistakes were made. We probably started drinking at 15. A lot of my counterparts were drinking at 14, but there's no pressure on me to drink at all. We start high school at 14, and it was like, do you drink? No, cool, fine. And we'd go to parties. We had themed parties. So we have Purple Jesus Party. That's really fun. Everyone wears
that
purple.
mean?
I don't know where it comes from, but you wear purple, and then we get new bins, like clean, from the shop. And everybody has to bring a bottle.
I love that you had to specify. Like we don't use like sewage bins.
We wouldn't just use like collect bins from the neighborhood. We get new ones, and everyone has to bring vodka or similar like clear beverage, and you pour it into the bin upon your arrival, which is full of ice and purple Kool-Aid. And like just stir it all night, and you bring a purple cup and you just dip it in. And the most fun I've probably ever had in my life was a purple Jesus.
Is that why it's called
party.
Purple Jesus? Because you see Jesus probably. You drink so much Kool-Aid.
I
that
saw
you see
Jesus. Yeah, you're literally drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it
like
was
what
so much
happens when you
fun.
die. You see Jesus.
And we had great music then. We had like late 90s hip hop, early noughties, like pop and stuff. It was amazing. Spice Girls reigned supreme. And then we had golf pros and tennis hose party.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I think I missed the boat on that, but that was like a theme of parties, especially in like American shows that I used to watch, like reality TV shows. They always loved that, yeah.
And I lived that life. And we could do whatever we wanted to do. Nothing was published on social media. It was a lot of house parties, a lot of them at my house. I did get in trouble. I did get caught a few times. Too many people would come. The police would come. There'd be fights in the garden, stuff like that.
That was
People
me.
definitely were having sex in like bushes and tents. I had sex with my husband in like primary school parks under the slides.
Love that.
We just did whatever we wanted
Love
to do.
that. That's what because my dad was working in politics when I was around that age, but I kept like, I was so naughty. And my mum used to be like, you can't put anything, because she was like, everything you do is going to put the Labour government at risk. And I was like, wow, such power I have. I could unthrone the government. And I remember one night we used to go to these underage raves. This is good info for you with Violet growing up in London, but we used to go to these underage raves. And basically, I was like 14 years old. I bought some MD off of this like private school boy called like Toby or something.
Of course.
And then we were sniffing MD because we thought that's how you did it, because we'd never done it before. And we'd like seen in the films that people sniff drugs. And then we looked up and someone was filming us like with a camera. And so we all freaked out. And in the end, we got the girl to delete the video. But actually, someone else took a picture of me at a house party smoking a really badly rolled cigarette, right? I just didn't know how to roll. So they thought it was a spliff.
I see.
They sent it to the Sun. But then the Sun tried to publish it, but I was under 16. And so they couldn't do it because it's like child pornography or something.
That's a nice loophole, actually.
Yeah, it's a good loophole. Yeah.
So you were naughty early because you were like, if I reach the age of consent, the Sun's going to publish my behavior. I'll overthrow the Labour government. That's
exactly,
no good.
Yeah. Which I was desperate to do, by the way.
Yeah.
I was desperate to get them out of power. They were ruining my life.
Isn't it funny that a little girl had that power? I mean, that's really scary. I'm going to say to Violet, if you make any mistakes, you could overthrow the government. I'm just going to tell her that without context and see if she alters her behavior.
What do you think she's going to be like?
So far, so good. Like, she's almost 15. She'll be 15 this month, and she's really good, and she doesn't want to drink alcohol. Though she had a party that got really out of hand.
Well, that's the age that it does, because also people find out, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they turn up. Is that what happened?
Yeah, the invitation, she foolishly was really excited to tell people, so she put an invitation on Snapchat. Well, that gets screenshotted and sent all around. And these kids, it's really sad because you're not allowed to exist in your own community as a teenager. You're barred from everywhere. You can't even go to a sweet shop in pairs, and then they don't want you at any venue, and you're not allowed anywhere. So what are you going to do? They invade these house parties because they have nowhere else to gather. And so I do feel for them, and I tried to create a safe environment where they could come in and party, but
You just got out of hand.
Oh my God. And then the neighbors were called, and I live on quite a busy road, and then the police came, and it was like 250 kids.
Oh my God, did stuff get stolen?
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, but the neighbors are still quite cross.
Fine, okay.
And, it was all right. I mean, look, I definitely benefited from small town innocence and anonymity. Like, I wonder if you were extra naughty because
I think
of
so.
the gaze on you.
I think so. I think I had a real deep desire for rebellion and kind of an anger about the fact that I was in this position.
Yeah.
It's almost like, when you, I don't know, this is such a weird example, but I don't know if you've ever been cheated on, but like when I've been cheated on and then I stay with them, but then like use it as sort of like a reason to sort of like get away with bad behavior afterwards. That was, I've therapized that out of me. But when I was younger, I was like, well, you've put me in this shit position where we've got like protesters outside my house and people saying all of this stuff about my dad, which has nothing to do with me. So I'm going to fuck around and I'm going to like push it to the edge. But it's just funny because my dad had no understanding of like drugs. I mean, now he understands that like people take drugs. But then I remember once there was a boy in my garden smoking a spliff and my dad came home and probably shouldn't say this, tried to strangle him. I probably shouldn't say that, but it is true. I mean, we've spoken about that, like because my dad thought like illegal, because he was working in politics. He was like,
reacted.
Illegal substance, like must civilian arrest you. It was so funny. But I think they're probably, and that's why I asked about Violet, because I feel like, she's such a character and she's got such a strong sense of self. So like, she's going to be great. But there's definitely an element of like being somewhat in the public eye that just does weird things to you.
Very different. Politics is so
It is,
different.
yeah,
and
no,
it's
it is.
really... there's a visceral appetite for someone to do something wrong. Either your dad or his daughter is like the perfect thing.
It's easy as well. It's like an easy target.
Yeah, in America, all these eyes were on Jenna Bush, was it? Like the little girl.
And also, do you remember Kellyanne Conway's daughter,
Yeah.
who's like in COVID?
Well, don't compare yourself to her.
Also, Michael Gove's daughter. Did you hear about
No,
this?
I didn't.
She like started a TikTok account that was called 420 Bando Baby, and she was doing all these TikToks from her bedroom, and she had like loads of Bob Marley. She was quite me actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was quite like classic like child of a politician, like finds marijuana. But she was doing all these TikToks, and they were having to try and get her to take the Tory government trying to get her to take the TikToks down. So, okay.
But I like your dad and I like your mom, and you've brought them round because now they're so involved with all of your very sex positive, very honest, very progressive comedy.
It's hard. Did you have this like? It's a weird, I really had to break my dad down in a way. And I still think he doesn't like watching my stand-up. I think he does it, but he disassociates.
Wouldn't. No, Grace, he hates watching your stand-up. I would hate to watch your stand-up if I was your dad. I would hate it.
What would you do if Violet was on stage talking about
I would have a hard time with it. Even my sisters, they were not that much younger than I was, but because I was the maternal one, I was like, you can talk to me in terms of levels, like level 3 relations. And I remember my sister was like, we had level 4 relations. And I was like, what? Like, it's hard. I don't know.
It is hard. I think I don't have that gene. That's the thing. So even like, I don't know. But then the problem is that then my dad now likes to talk to me about his sex life, which is with my mum.
Yeah.
I'm like,
hopefully.
Yeah, it is, and I don't want to know about it. But he thinks,
sweet.
I think I've opened something up to him where he thinks it's now like normal to talk about that. So I understand that it's weird, but
it's great that you're that way. It's great that you've given your dad this place to talk about his sex life, and he's accepted you. I think you're a lovely family.
Alice Campbell's sex.
I want to know about Alistair Campbell's sex life. I'm very interested because how long have they been married for?
They've been together for 44 years.
So you have no idea. It's really important that they still have sex after 44 years. It's tricky because I don't know your dad that well, but I see him as a real person. But a lot of politicians, I don't view them like they're Martians to me.
Yeah, and you can't imagine so many of them having sex. I'm like, can you imagine Rishi Sunak having sex?
No.
I don't think he's ever
had sex.
No, he's an immaculate conception. His children are immaculate conceptions. None of them
But
are
I've
real.
heard from people who work for that family that they're super nice as well.
Really? Boris Johnson was a huge shagger.
Well, yeah, we've probably all heard him.
Yeah. I actually think I heard him just on the way here on the tube.
He was right behind me.
So do you get bad hangovers? Because
Yes,
I know you love a drink.
Not anymore.
Do you
so
not?
enjoy it while you can.
Really? When did that start, may I ask?
When I first started drinking, I loved it. And I was worried about a hangover. And I was only 15, but I tried it and I went, oh, what's going to happen? Am I going to throw up? Am I going to be sick? I don't want that. And I got drunk off like this much vodka, which is a lot
That's a lot.
for your first time in a bottle.
And it's probably really like cheap, like
yeah,
equivalent of Glen's vodka.
it's called like black ice.
Oh no.
And then with orange juice, and it was lovely, and I loved being drunk, and then I felt great afterwards, and I thought, brilliant. And then I would get hangovers every once in a while, but they'd be swift. You know, you can have a McDonald's and they're gone. Now in my life, just since genuinely my 40th birthday last June, even having a glass of wine sometimes makes me feel sick.
Whoa.
I know, so watch out. And this is why women my age turn to like opiates or like microdose on mushroom oil, which I have yet to try. But it's really sad.
Because of the hangovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just can't, and you can't function. I think right now it might just be a season of life. I was breastfeeding for a really long time. I have very small children. I'm up. I still haven't slept all night in 3 years once.
Well, exactly.
So I'm tired.
Yeah,
I'm
your
up at
body's
5
like
in the
running
morning.
on empty already.
So
probably throwing
hopefully-
alcohol into it is like.
I want to get back to drinking. Like a lot of people are trying to drink less, and I'm trying to wean myself on to more because I do love to get a bit
build up the
pissed.
tolerance again. That is what happens though. Because also you were pregnant twice.
4 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
I had 2 miscarriages.
Yes, of course.
And then like back to back to back. So I was never not pregnant.
You've basically been sober for a few years. And then
It's
your body's
hell.
like, what the fuck?
But I try. I have 1
Keep
glass of
going.
wine at lunch every day.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Just a white wine, small. I try. Last
That's
night
so
I had a
French.
margarita. I'm trying.
How did that make you feel?
Kind of sick. So party now. Now.
But I've just turned 30, and not to sound like, oh, woe is me, but suddenly I'm like, I can't handle it. Not in the same way anyway. But I will keep trying, and I will keep going.
Let's never give up.
No, because I think you and you're a fun person. So it's like you like to have fun.
And drunk Katherine is everyone's favorite Katherine. Everyone's like, drunk. If she comes out, all my high school friends are like, drunk Katherine's out. Like I always have a big party on July 1st. I go to the Maple Leaf in Covent Garden. It's this Canadian bar. And the year that I got back with my husband, it was Canada Day 2019, and we went to this bar in London, and my best friend had come from Finland, and she didn't have her kids yet, and I didn't have the second round of kids yet.
Yeah.
And I went first because I had a meeting in the morning, and they were going to join me. And I arrived all alone, and they were late. They were held up on the tube or whatever. And I was like an installation. I was like a Canadian, like I was working there. People were like, Katherine Ryan's here all alone. And they kept buying me drinks. And I was like, and by the time they arrived, I was like, I'd climbed a haystack. I was like holding a bear. I was having so much fun.
What is this place? This place sounds crazy.
And they
have, my God.
Yeah, like poutine and chicken wings.
I love poutine so much.
Hockey on the tellies and everything is so much fun.
Yeah, you're a really good time.
I was wasted. And then my husband arrived finally, and we started making out.
Love. So wait, with Bobby, you had a civil partnership, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, no,
and
I thought we did.
Oh, what? But it was a
wedding, but I didn't know that.
Oh.
So we're married. But
right, okay. When did you find that out?
Just only last year, because I thought it was civil partnership because I didn't wear a wedding dress. We didn't have it in a church, and we did it in a courthouse.
You did it abroad, didn't you?
Yeah. Just because it was the quickest.
Yeah.
So,
and it was just Violet there? Who else was there?
And my best friend, the aforementioned best friend from Finland.
Okay. And did you have a party?
No.
That's
party.
so interesting.
I went to work, actually.
Really?
So we had brunch, and then we got married at 11 a.m., or had a civil partnership, I thought. And then we went to the airport, and I did a stand-up gig that night in my wedding dress.
Oh, God.
Because he was marrying a hustler.
Which you are. Mm-hmm. And you didn't want to have a party?
No. I think I get a lot of attention in my life, and I'm not comfortable getting attention that I'm not in charge of. So I don't think I would want to be a bride, and I don't really care about my birthday. I have big parties for my children, but I don't want a birthday
That
party.
makes a lot of sense, actually, because you already have so much attention. And also, because when you do live shows, you kind of always have parties because then you have people coming that you know, and then you'll have like drinks afterwards.
Which I hate, by the way.
Do you? Mm-hmm. You hate. So after a show.
Did you come to my last Palladium show?
Yes, I did.
And there were drinks after, and I wasn't there.
Yes, you weren't there. I was there. Yeah. I was waiting for you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I was there. I was like, what's her excuse?
I just went home.
Good for you.
Because I was pregnant again.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah. But do you not have this? I have this issue that I'm really trying to figure out, which is after a show, I find it hard not to go and want to burn off some steam. How do you then come down? Because that show was incredible. And then it's like, you then just go home? Like, what's your like come down routine?
Nothing. So I know,
really?
I've seen stand-ups. I'm sure you have too. I don't know what the young ones are doing. But I've seen push-ups and jumping jacks. I've seen pacing. And I've seen like, I like stand like this. And then I go and do the show, and I like, and then I come off and I sit like this in the car, and I drive home.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
And then you go and then you can sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous of that.
Well, when you get a stressful life, one day you'll just be able to sleep. Like I just don't have.
Because my issue is I turn to alcohol. That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Is that after a show, I like to have a drink and I like to go partying, but then it's like I have a show the next day.
I think your style is more. I think if I was 30, and I had your on-stage persona, I might go out. Like I have done that on occasion. I'm trying to think back. Well, I was always a mom though. Like I had Violet when I was 24, 25.
And you hadn't started stand-up then? Or you started in Canada?
Yeah. I was doing stand-up, but I would do a show and she would usually be with me. And like they wouldn't serve her at the bars. I'm like, one.
They want to give her a whiskey. How dare they?
Be like, she's drunk already. No, I always had a really serious life, I think. Which is fine. I don't regret it. I did all my partying. We partied so much so young. We'd go to Quebec, which is like French Canada, on a ski trip when we were like 16, 17, because the drinking age there is 18. The drinking age in my town was 19. And then the drinking age over the river in America was 21. So we'd have Americans coming over to drink when they were younger. And then we'd go even further north and drink in Quebec. And these ski trips were just drinking, partying at the bars. My husband got off with the tour guide, which broke my heart on the ski trip.
Was she much older?
Yeah.
Oh God,
She was.
that would break my heart.
And she was scum
You'd be
as
so
well.
intimidated by an older
I
tour
was
guide.
so intimidated, and I couldn't see
the tour guide element.
She was
She
scum.
knows so much.
Yeah, she was like a real like Avril Lavigne type lower back tattoo, like just from a scummier town than
Which
mine.
was very
even.
cool at that time.
It was. Like we were skaters in like Vans and ripped jeans. So I mean that.
Oh God.
And then we had a prom party where I got off with the bouncer, who was hired to look after a high school prom party, and like. We did so many things. They weren't even inappropriate at the time. Like they were frowned upon, but they weren't explicitly illegal.
Did you do that to get back at Bobby?
Yeah.
I love that you guys are now together.
I know, but
It's
like we have
epic. all
trauma.
of these stories.
I know.
Like, it's like a storyline from the OC.
But I think we were both victims. You know, he was a victim of this predatory tour guide. And then, of course, what were they paying him in 17-year-old girls?
Bad.
They were like, you bounce the prom and someone's going to get her heart broken in a tiara and there you'll be.
And then you'll be getting with one of the girls. Yeah. We went on a school trip when I was 17 to Cuba, and loads of the boys like got with all these women in this nightclub, and then the pimp came in, and we were like 16, 17, and then the pimp came in and was like, where's the money? And all these boys in my year like thought they'd just lucked out and were getting with these like hot Cuban women.
No.
And then my teacher had to pay.
Your teacher's ringing up Michael Gove. Look, he's done it again. But that's what I'm going to do. Like if I'm a pimp in Cuba and I hear all these accents.
Oh, it's great.
These private school kids are coming around.
No, we didn't go to private school.
You didn't go to private school? You did? But you hung out with the private school staff.
I hung out with the private, but it was a really interesting dynamic because I obviously was posh. I was the poshest girl in my school, but because my mum is very anti-private schools. That's like her big thing. And also it would have been, they wouldn't have been allowed to send me to private school during like them being in power.
Yeah.
But no, my mum's very anti them. But then because of where I grew up in Camden, like we ended up being friends. Tyler's my oldest childhood friend. We were friends with all the private school kids, but then we would go to these like private school house parties and they just had these insane houses, and then like our friends from like the state schools would just come and just like fuck the houses up. So, yeah, it was really bad. Who would be your dream plus one? So you're going to like an epic, I don't know, like the Vanity Fair Oscars party. Who would you take?
I think it would have to be someone that would blow people away. People would be really excited to have them as a plus one. It would raise my cred, get me invited to bigger and better parties. And I'm very close to touching the sun right now because I'm Canadian. I don't have any links to Celine Dion the way I wish I did. And if I could be friends with Celine Dion, I would bring her to a party and people would go fucking wild.
I feel like you can become friends with Celine Dion.
Well, I'm getting closer.
You're Canadian royalty.
I'm hoping to be, because I'm about to do a job with Shania Twain.
Is that the Canada's Got Talent?
Yes. Yeah. And I was excited to do Canada's Got Talent before I knew Shania Twain was also involved. And then they announced Shania Twain's also involved. And I thought, she's got like 10 Grammys. She's Canadian royalty. She's probably friends with Celine Dion.
She's definitely friends with Celine Dion.
And I'm working close enough with her, like sat right beside her.
So you're just going to have to become absolutely best friends with her, which you will.
And I've never really tried to be friends with anyone because it's
really,
a bit baggy.
I try to be friends with people a lot.
I don't, because I just don't have a lot to offer, and I know that.
You have so much to offer. Honestly, Celine Dion would love you.
I don't know if she would.
She would love you.
But if I can get friends with Shania Twain, which I think might happen,
you're in.
Then I'm in, and then maybe I could also be friends. And Shania Twain is impressive enough.
Well, exactly.
She impresses
She
me
would be a
much.
great plus one as
I know.
well. Because she's got great vibes.
Yeah.
You
So
can tell she's really lovely.
A realistic plus one that would have been unrealistic a year ago. I didn't think I'd be friends with Shania Twain, but now I have a chance.
That's so exciting. When does that start?
Autumn. Not sure exactly.
And are you
when.
going to film it there?
Yeah, and I'm not bringing my kids.
Whoa.
I've just decided, like,
okay.
I'm no longer going to carry this whole family on my back everywhere.
Fair enough.
Because I felt like I was getting annoyed, not annoyed with the boys, but slightly resentful of my male counterparts who were dads, who'd be like, oh, being a dad, But then I'd see them alone all the time and like touring alone and not being handed a screaming infant when they come off stage. And I was like, ah. But then I realized my problem isn't with them. My problem's with me. Like, why am I bringing all my kids everywhere?
Yeah.
Fuck that family.
Fuck them. You need to be friends with Celine Dion.
I know.
You've got one goal, which is to become best friends with Shania Twain and meet Celine Dion.
And I can't have my
You
children.
can't do that with 3 kids in
cock
tow.
blocking
Yeah,
me.
you're going for drinks, you know? You've got to be like cocktail hour. You've got to build up your alcohol tolerance.
This is
You've
it.
got
I got to work so hard.
Absolutely wine and dine Shania Twain.
No.
That's what you've got to do.
What if I get there and I've like worked so hard? Like it would be like a Rocky montage of me just like trying to drink, taking shots. And then finally it's the autumn and I'm like, Shania Twain, would you like to please be my friend and go out for drinks? And she's like, I'm sober. And I'll be like, what?
I would be upset if I don't think she would do that. I think
She's 58 years old.
Whoa, that's crazy.
She looks like Ariana Grande.
That's crazy. Do you know who I saw at Coachella who looks unbelievable is Gwen Stefani?
Well, yeah.
Whoa, has she been like in a freezer?
I think she might have had a deep plane facelift. I saw some like musings about that, but I haven't investigated enough myself.
I mean, also she danced for 90 minutes and sang live nonstop. I was like, whoa, there's something in her.
It's these dancers.
Yeah.
But she's always been shockingly beautiful.
She's ridiculous. I was just standing there like I couldn't run to like that door without getting out of breath. Okay, and then my other question is, and then actually I want to ask you one more question, but I want to ask you this
Hang on,
question
how
first. Yes.
close were you to Gwen Stefani?
We were quite close.
Jesus.
Yeah, we were in the like, you know, the bit. Have you ever been to Coachella? It's so weird.
No, I have
It was
not
so weird. Never go. I mean, it's just
I
it
won't, don't
was
worry.
terrible. This is the other thing that I find super interesting is the way that at Coachella I kept saying this would never happen at Glastonbury because I felt so proud of like the way that English people do festivals at Coachella because there was something so sanitized about it. Like no one was having fun, no one was k-holing, like there was no one like rolling around on the floor. It was just so boring and everyone was posing for pictures.
I was just on Ozempic, like.
Exactly, and none of them could drink, so they were just bored. They were just bored people. Best name drop, or you can give me multiple ones, but what have been your best name drops or like celebrity spottings at parties? I love this question.
So many because I'm friends with Jimmy Carr, the modern day
Yes.
Gatsby.
Yes.
And he knows everyone and like the most wild card guests will turn up at his parties.
Oh my God.
Professor Stephen Hawking, Monica
Shut up.
Lewinsky, Kourtney Kardashian,
Kourtney Kardashian,
all in Jimmy Carr's home at the same time.
Stephen Hawking, Monica Lewinsky, and Kourtney Kardashian.
Et moi.
That's like the best shag, marry, avoid.
He's just friends with everyone.
What? How does he know Kourtney Kardashian?
He's friends with Princess Beatrice.
And is
who
she
was
friends with
Kourtney
Kardashian?
Kardashian. I mean, they turned up together. Or
I
maybe
just-
it was Eugenie.
What do you
It was
think that
Beatrice.
the princess and Kourtney Kardashian talk about? They are both royal family members, I guess.
Well, at the time, I interjected because I was drunk on tequila because I used to be fun. And
You're so fun.
I said at the time, Kourtney, you need to leave Scott. Because I watched the show so much, I think we're friends, but we're not. And she was really gracious about it. She was like, oh, well, he's staying in my house right now. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, burn your house down. You need to leave him.
Can I ask, was this like the first thing you said to her?
The first thing I said
You just
to
went
her.
up to her and said,
Yeah.
leave Scott.
And then she goes,
So
well,
epic.
who would I even be with? And I was like, Prince Harry, who was single at the time. This was pre-Meghan Markle. So I was thinking maybe that's why they were friends. Like maybe that was in the works because
Did her eyes light up a bit at the idea of Prince Harry?
whose wouldn't? Have you ever
Exactly.
considered dating Prince Harry? Because you could have had a shot.
I don't think so. I look too like related to him.
Not
in a sort
Cressida
of-
Bonus. You look very Cressida Bonus.
No, I never. He's a bit older than me.
Of course.
But yeah, I definitely would have
I'm
for
sorry,
sure
do you just
for the
date
story.
men your age?
No, I have dated some men a bit older than me, but Prince Harry. I don't know why I'm saying it like I know him. My dad knew Diana.
Sure. I think Prince Harry would get a kick out of you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put that in the manifestation box.
But I also thought he
So-
and
so-
Kourtney
so-
might have, I don't know the link.
Can you
there.
imagine a world in which Courtney can you imagine that? That would have been
Two royal families uniting?
exactly, but it would also the fallout of all of it would have been so well documented.
Yeah.
Way better than that Netflix series that Harry and Meghan did, because it would have been a whole series of the Kardashians.
No. I
Wow.
tried.
What was Courtney like?
Really polite considering how egregious my approaching her was. Like,
And she
really
was
polite.
fine about that.
Fine. Yeah, she was loose. She was wearing like very floaty black, like too long, too baggy, but like really chic. And then she was teeny tiny. I mean, they're all so small.
They're all so small. That's
All so
what
small.
blows my mind. That Chloe's not actually that tall.
No.
She just looks like a giant next to them because they're all so
But-
small.
You have tall girl energy. Do people meet you and say, "Oh, I thought you were taller"?
Well, I am quite tall,
But you...
do you think I have tall girl energy? That's actually such a nice compliment.
I think a lot of female stand-ups do. And the boys are little, so if we're ever with them...
They are always small, aren't they? Can I ask you a question, right, with male comics? Because I know you have lots of great male comic friends, but when you started, was there... Okay, the other day, like a male comedian accused me of lying about a bit that I'd written, which, first of all, it wasn't a lie. But second of all, why would you say that to another comedian in front of an audience? It was during a panel. He accused me of lying on a bit. I don't want to say the bit because it's in my new show, but afterwards I was thinking about it because I was thinking like, I don't think a man would do that to another man. No. And also, I just think he was jealous that I had like an actual interesting bit that maybe he didn't have. But something, did you ever have that vibe of like men almost being envious of the fact that your life just is more interesting, your observations like sometimes are more interesting, so they try and sort of devalue that? Well,
also this guy doesn't understand comedy because loads of bits are lies.
And also, it was like he was trying to pull the curtain for whatever that phrase is.
Just undermine you in front of people.
But also, coming from another comic, it's like, we all like embellish stories, so it was just so undermining to do that in front of people.
I think a comedian's job is to decorate the truth, like a central truth with loads of little lies or misdirections, or you know what I mean. But some stories are absolutely true, and then some are to prop it up and to tell a central truth. But anyway, no, not that I can remember anyway. I'm from a generation of just like such nice, supportive comedians. Like I started with Ramesh and Rob Beckett and Joel Dommett.
Who are all so nice.
Yeah. Mike Wozniak, so nice. Joe Lycett, like all of those guys. Sean Walsh started with us. Like they're all really supportive. I'm sure there have been times where someone's like tried to undermine me on stage, but I'm so unaware. Like someone asked me the other day about panel shows specifically, which are kind of a thing of the near past. There are fewer of them now anyway. And someone was like, oh, do you feel intimidated? Or how did you hold your own? And I really had to think about it in a new way. And I realized it's because I just don't rate men. Like I don't think that they're very, generally, though some men are brilliant, but they're not a gender that intimidates me. I don't think they're very resilient or like clever or interesting or capable, or I just don't.
Also because I feel this way. There are so few men that I think are funnier or more interesting than any of my female friends.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to take them that seriously, because I'm like, I know people that are just like 20 times more funny than you.
And some are great, but I think largely on the panel shows I just wasn't intimidated.
But see, that's really good, because I feel like in this instance I was fine. I dealt with it well. I had like some really good comebacks, but I did feel, because it was me and 4 men, that I felt like I was outnumbered. And in that situation, I love having like female allies there, or like a gay person that then we can be like, fuck these guys. And because it was just me, I did feel a little bit like, oh my God, am I losing here?
That's really weird.
But that's great that you had that, because I feel like that's something that a lot of like younger comics will really like be like look up to you for, because that's a really good way to deal with those situations, is to not think these people are better or more experienced than me. It's just think like, you know, they're not as, you know, I don't need to be terrified of them.
No, but also if someone does that to you, if someone undermines you or someone's not fair, like just to forget it as quickly as you can, because that might have happened to me. I just don't remember because I don't care. I didn't place any importance on it, I think. And like this man will probably be invisible and like a blip on your career, and you just won't even remember who he is.
Totally.
But when this is finished, you'll tell me.
I will tell you.
And I won't have heard of him.
No, you won't have heard of him. I've blocked him on social media.
But I think don't be Mrs. Gove.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true.
I don't block anyone. Don't block anyone ever.
No, I actually just unfollowed him, and then anyway, I shouldn't go into too much detail, but I'll tell you who it is afterwards.
Great.
Right, we haven't actually got a name for this. I really would rather a name before I do it.
For this or that?
Yeah, I want a name. Like I wanted it to be like Ket or Cat. No, but no, it's Packet or Poppers, but I don't think people are gonna.
I'm not familiar.
Because it's like, okay, would you rather like know the guest list or be surprised? Would you rather organise fun or going with the flow? Like these are them, but I don't have a name for it, so we're just gonna call it, I don't know, Grace or Katherine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we'll call it for now. Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to do some screenshots.
I'll just be like, there's an unnamed section that will be futurely named on another episode.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I think that's the fun thing about being a stand-up is I'm so not perfectionist.
No.
I just
You
don't
don't have
care.
to be, yeah.
Yeah. And actually, work in progress is so much more fun.
I know.
They're so fun. When is your tour starting?
Autumn.
Okay,
And
fun.
I'm fucked. I need to really get out and do some work in progress.
Are you
It'll be all right.
are you writing it at the moment?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I get up when I can, but
Yeah.
it's bedtime
Yeah.
bath time. I mean, I need like a 2 p.m. work in progress.
Well, you should do that.
I should. I'm
People
sure
would
I
love
could.
that. I've been doing like 5 p.m. ones.
Great.
People come.
Where?
Bill Murray.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing like a load of them in July, like 5 p.m. Because loads of people like don't really have jobs and like,
Yeah.
you know, like, or like finish at 3.
Don't really have jobs.
Like whenever I do those shows, I'm like, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
It's like being on the tube in the day. I'm like, where are you all going? Okay, so this is a work in progress segment. I don't have a name for it.
Okay.
But I'm just going to ask you some questions. Okay. Would you rather a dress code or to wear what you want?
Oh, where would I want? Because my dress code is always elevated. Like if I'm out, if I'm being TV's Katherine Ryan, I always look like TV's Katherine Ryan.
I love it when you say TV's Katherine
Yeah.
Ryan. It's my favorite thing ever.
And then if I'm Katherine Ryan, I look
Have
like
you got
this.
merch saying TV's Katherine Ryan?
No!
You should do that.
I don't know.
You should do that. People would buy that at your shows. Knowing the guest list or being surprised with who's going to be there. Say you're going to a dinner party. Would you rather know who's going?
Oh, it depends on the host. So if it's a really cool host and I'm going to a dinner party, I know it's going to be incredible people there and I don't want to know until I arrive.
If you are worried about who's going to be there, would you request to like not sit next to certain people?
No, I have zero enemies. I'd sit next to anyone. And I would even sit next to like enemies. Like I would
Kind of
sit next to
Michael Gove's wife.
Sure. Oh, she thinks I'm skinny already. I would sit next to like political enemies like Matt Hancock. But I wouldn't have been able to be on I'm a Celebrity with like Nigel Farage or Matt Hancock and been polite. Like it was so weird to watch celebrities just fall into their politeness.
But why do you think they did that? Because do you think that's just because you're in this environment where you're like in a jungle, you forget about the real world, and then these people woo you? Because I feel like lots of people just lost the sense of themselves in that.
I think it's part of that, but I think British people, you got present company excluded. I think you guys don't have it. I think you fall into politeness. And you will know a lot of these politicians just from just being in these circles, they are really nice in real life. Like they're trained
To charm.
in their little like establishments to be charming. They're charming.
You know, me and my dad were asked to go on the one with Matt Hancock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then
yes,
my dad
I did
wouldn't do
know
it.
that.
Because they knew the only way of getting him in would to be trying to get me in. I tried to persuade him to do it. He said he would rather die. But then imagine if we'd have been in that with them.
It'd have been hot.
With him. It would have been unreal.
But you know, your dad doesn't have to do that.
No,
I
and also I
appreciate that.
think
He's like,
I think
nah.
it's chic that he doesn't.
How old is he?
67 or
So
something.
I'm not going in the jungle.
No, I know.
First of all, I'm not going anyway. Like I will not go on that show ever
I
because
bet you've been asked so many times.
not officially asked. I think they've made noises, but like it's hot.
You obviously give off a vibe that you are too chic for it, I think.
I think I'm too. It's not that I'm too chic. I'm too Celtic. Like I can't be that hot. I do the Welsh
health and
one.
safety precautions.
Yeah.
The factor 50. Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing that. I worked hard in my life so that I don't have to eat bugs. Well, I would eat bugs. I think it's a good protein source, a really cheap, sustainable protein source. But I wouldn't eat it like that.
No, and to be
wouldn't torture
locked in a box with
animals.
snakes, that's the thing that I just wouldn't be able to
I
do.
don't want to make the snake sad.
No.
And, like, Chris Peckham, is that his name? He gets mad.
He gets really
I don't want to
upset.
do it.
Organised fun or just like loose plan going with the flow?
Loose plan. You always have the most fun with a loose plan. Loose plan, loose plan. Like,
I love that. Day turns to night, night turns to 6 in the morning.
No.
Suddenly I'm at an after party in Dalston. I've got my dog with me. The other day I went out for breakfast
Yeah.
and then me and Eddie didn't get back till 6 the next
No!
day. I know. I'm probably going to get phoned up by like, the animal cruelty people.
No, she had you. She had
She was
food.
having a great time and also she just fell asleep. It was only like, it wasn't a big party. We were just at like an after party.
Listen, all she wants is you. A lot of people would
It's-
leave Eddie home and go out and do that, and that's not appropriate. She's with you. She's meeting people. She's being loved and petted. She's getting snacks.
Dogs are like stalkers.
Mhm.
It's like the show Baby Reindeer. That's what
Yeah.
they say having a dog is like. Okay, one more. Gift registry or no gift guidance?
Oh my gosh. Stop. A real bugbear of mine is a gift list. And there's a family that I was once involved in.
You say that like you were like I was fucking both of them.
Yeah. There's a family.
I was in the mix.
And every November comes around and they're like, let's exchange our Christmas lists. And this is what I want. And I want this and that and da. And I was like, why are we just giving each other errands like to do your shopping? Like if you want something,
Buy it.
Buy it. And if I want something, I'll buy it. And then if I see something throughout the year that leaps off the shelf and it makes me think of you, then that's special and I'll get it for you. And I'll actually do that all year.
What were the kinds of things that they were putting on their Christmas? Because I've never really heard of a Christmas gift like
It's
request
awful.
thing.
It's so tacky.
I'm gonna start doing it.
It would be like just a type of lip gloss, like shampoo that they want, some socks that they wanted. They might want like an air fryer. It was like a gift registry for a wedding, whatever. But like Christmas,
Sounds like they have far too much time.
it was awful. And then they'd want one from me, which was even worse. So it's like everything I want, I already have.
Yeah,
And this is why we can't be friends.
That is very ick. I also think it makes the process of buying a present so lame.
It's lame because it's meant to be spontaneous. And it's like you're supposed to surprise someone and they're going, oh my God, you know me so well because you know that and it can be anything. You can get someone like chestnuts. It doesn't have to be, I got my mom a facelift for her birthday and I didn't.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know, I just told her like on the family group chat because I knew she would love it.
I love that.
My husband panicked. He's like, I don't know if you should get that's a slam. Like some people would be really offended by that. And I was like, not my mom. I know her so well. And she was like, thank you. It's exactly what I wanted.
I love that. That's great. I bet you're really good at buying gifts. Yeah.
Facelift is a nice gift.
That's a great gift.
I hope my kids love me enough to buy me a facelift one day.
I'm
in
sure
5
they
years.
will.
When they're still in primary school.
Okay, so I've got this sort of part of the show where it's called the Civilian Plus One. So I've gotten like civilian fans of mine to submit. I love calling them civilians. It's my favorite thing.
Muggles.
Yeah, exactly, the Muggles. Tyler's my civilian friend. That's why I'm allowed to say it because she's here. So I've got them to submit like their worst party stories or craziest things that have happened to them, and then we decide who we would have as our plus one.
These will be bad. See, civilians are so much more entertaining.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So much more. That's why it's great having civilian mates. Wink, wink.
When you have your show, your like Ranganation should be called Civilians. Should be like, let's turn to the civilians. What to you?
It's my favorite thing. Calling them civilians is honestly my Roman Empire. Like it makes me laugh so much.
And people love to watch civilians on TV now.
Civilians are just so much more interesting.
Gogglebox, better than Celebrity Gogglebox.
Once got wasted and high on, it's a snow emoji, so I'm presuming that is cocaine.
Never taken cocaine.
I threw a dart at the head of the guy I fancied. He went to A&E.
I mean, that's bad. That is real playground nagging on a level that seeps into assault.
Kind of a crime.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Could you get arrested for that?
I just don't think people should alter their personalities to this extent. It's too dangerous.
It's also, I find it sad, to be honest, because it's like...
it's a sad story. We don't like this
Be
person.
more fun on your own, like naturally. Okay, my first night out with my team at a new primary school teaching job.
Whoa.
The head teacher kept trying to get me to hook up with my colleagues and do cocaine with him. Right, there's a lot of cocaine with my demographic. I tell you, once a girl K-holed at one of my shows, she had to be removed from the show.
I would expect that to happen at your shows, but
yeah.
It's not you. I think people are doing that now, and it's sad. But primary school teachers should take cocaine, definitely. I'll give a pass.
They deserve it. They deserve that.
Why wouldn't you get off with your colleague? Why wouldn't you take cocaine? What do you have to get up for?
Okay. Me and my sis were house sitting for some very important arty people. We also worked in a pub around the corner. Brought people back from the pub after a lock-in for a little after party. I shagged a guy in the playroom and my sis shagged a guy in the walk-in fridge. Whoa. Art got moved without us realising, brackets, porno nudes replacing fairy prints in the kid's bedroom.
Oh, no.
I mean, I would say of all three of those, I can't even remember the other two because they were sort of, I don't know. I think that one sounds the most legendary. What would you do if you left
As a homeowner,
Yeah.
it upsets me. I mean, we had a house sitter for a while who was a young woman who would definitely have her boyfriend over. And we have cameras all outside the house, but not inside the house. And my husband and I were away looking at the camera one day and she ran outside with no pants on. She just had her bare bum out on our camera. And I spotted it first and I was like, I don't know if I'm meant to show my husband like this girl's bare bum because I'm always thinking about consent and protecting young women. But he wouldn't be, he likes older women, obviously. And I was like, what's she doing running around with her bum out? And she was taking like pizzas from inside the house that she'd previously ordered and putting them in her car, but with her bum out. Like just no pants on, like Donald Duck. And I was like,
Did you ever ask her?
all right, no.
No.
She was only young, and I just thought, all right. So I know she was probably having sex
Do you
in
know
her
what?
house.
The thing is, sometimes when the dog needs a wee in the night, I will go outside like pretty much naked to take her for a wee.
No bathrobe.
I'll like sometimes put like half of a blanket. I shouldn't say this because now my neighbours are going to look for me. But yeah, sometimes I do think, because it's like 4 a.m, so in my head like no one's awake. So I'm like no one can see, but I'm guessing maybe they can see.
Maybe they can. Or if you accidentally locked yourself out, I mean, the door slams behind your big British door. You never know.
I know. I was once staying in Margate, staying at a friend's house.
Lovely.
And we didn't have a garden and Eddie needed to go out. So in the night, I just put my coat on with nothing else underneath, 4 a.m, go outside barefoot, like walking around the streets of Margate. And there was so many like, you know, drug addicts like walking around.
Had found you. They'd come to stalk you on holiday.
They were like, do you want a bag of cake?
I agree that this lock-in does sound very legendary. Artists probably wouldn't have minded.
No.
And the kids have probably seen the, porno, and it's beautiful, and it's just body positivity, and it's fine, and they can move it from their room. I think that one's probably fine. It seems like there are fewer casualties in that story.
I think that's the one that I would say if you wanted to come to a party with me, you could.
They got a walk-in fridge?
Yeah.
Who are these artists?
Epic. I know. I'm now trying to figure out who it is. Okay, my last question for you is, what's your best excuse to leave a party? And then you can use that excuse to leave now.
Oh,
I know, it's over, which is sad, but you have to go and get a smear test.
It's the same as my real excuse. Yeah. Every party I'm leaving, I go, I'm sorry, I've got to go get a smear. And I go to those kind of parties, Grace. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I need to immediately leave here and get a smear.
I have to leave. It's midnight and I'm going to Harley Street and I'm getting a smear.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't need an excuse. I'm 40 years old. I've come too far in my life. I don't need an excuse to leave anywhere. I just go, it's finished now.
Goodbye.
I'm leaving. And I don't even say goodbye.
Do you just leave?
I just leave. And then I'll send a text
to
the host afterwards and be like, thank you so much for the incredible party. We had to leave. Like, if I cannot say goodbye, I don't say goodbye.
I love that.
I'm bad at goodbyes.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to say goodbye to me now. You can just leave.
I'm leaving.
That was the best. I love you. Thank you so much, Katherine. No.